What do you do when you have a leader in your organization who has the technical skills needed in their department, perhaps overqualified, but they are lacking personal skills? They have an 8 or 9 in technical skills and a 3 in personal skills. Well, personal skills are relative to the job. My question would be, how much of their scope of work involves working with people? You know, I've got and I've had some employees who were good working in a cubicle, in an office by themselves, in a room alone, and were perfect. The moment they had to work with people, it fell apart. So if they are an 8 or 9 in technical and a 3 in personal, my question would be, is there a way we can find a place to isolate this person so that they can work alone and continue to be an 8 or 9? Because I am not in favor of letting an 8 or 9 go. You just got to make sure that their technical job does not require them to interface or interact with people. Because an 8 or 9 in anything is hard to find. So you need to take that 8 or 9, find them a closet, a room, a sewage pipe, a back alley or something, and let them work technically and not expect them to be professional interactively. I wouldn't let them go. And then I think that you need to work with that person and do some personal assessments to see if there's a way you can coach them up, because you are the leader. And you should find a way to perhaps get them from a 3 to a 6. Okay, it probably won't ever be a 10, but if you can get them from a 3 to a 5 or 6, then maybe you can let them meet with people one-on-one and not crowds of people. But an 8 or 9 is hard to let go and hard to find. So put them in a technical position, keep them away from human interaction. And I think that you can find somebody else who may be a 8 or 9 in the personal skill, but a 3 in the technical, and keep them out of the technical area. Number 5, how do you overcome the fear of starting a business? Well, consider what you fear and why you are afraid, and then do it anyway. I was afraid when I started both of my companies, but I did it anyway. I was afraid when I started this church, but I did it anyway. I was afraid when I started Lighthouse downtown and still have some anxieties about it, but I did it anyway. And your work will pay off. We walked in there Sunday for praise and worship, and it was, 30 people there for praise and worship. By the time I finished preaching, it was over. We had over 165 people. You just got to stay with it. If you stay there long enough, the people will come. Sometimes businesses win just because they were there longer than the people who didn't. We got a school here. I started a school. I talked to a guy whose school has been open 22 years. His father started it, my buddy, Pastor Mitch Summerfield, and he's now over in North Carolina. And I started telling him about some of the ills that we had been going through early on when we started. He said, man, starting a school is like having a restaurant. You're going to be in it 5 years before you see any success. Sometimes you are fearful of something that's absolutely normal. It's normal for a business to take 3 to 5 years to succeed, and being afraid that it will fail or that starting it will be a problem, you're afraid of what's normal. And so knowing what's normal will help you, and do it anyway. And if you can climb over your fears, you will grow and sustain, and your business will be around for the long haul. So hopefully I've answered those questions. What I want to do before I answer the other 2 questions, and I'm going to give you a call of action, and then I got my 3rd question. I'll take that as the final one. I didn't have to get a loan for my first salon. However, it seems that I need the funding this time. Should I slow down? Oh my God, should I slow down? I'm going to love answering your question. Should I slow down, save capital, or go for the loan? Great question. I'm going to have fun answering that one. Send me an email with all of your business goals for 2019. I want you to email me with all of your goals. This is going to let me know that you're serious. We've got 17 participants on right now. I really have a goal to grow this business startup lab. I hope that when I do one of these coaching sessions a year from now, that we've got 150, 200 participants on. I really want to grow it, and I'm going to need you to help to recommend this to your friends if it's working, and give us your feedback of how we can shape things to better serve you. I'm trying to do more impersonal things and things like this, and not just always email you videos, but have live opportunities like this. So send us an email with your goals for 2019. Here's the email address. Are you ready? And I think I might be able to myself type it in. It's marketing@KeionHenderson.com. Marketing@KeionHenderson.com. Let me proofread it. Marketing@KeionHenderson.com. Right? I've just put, for me to all of the panelists and attendees, I just put the email address into the chat. I want you to get that email, and I want you to email me all of your goals for 2019. And we're going to review those and see if we can't help you to accomplish those. All right. As we finish up, and I want to thank you for your time and patience, here's the first question that we got here in the group chat. When is the right time to hire? Well, here is the deal. You should always be interviewing even when you're not hiring. Okay? You never know what's going to happen. You don't know if somebody's going to wake up and get married and decide they want to move to Barbados. You don't know if somebody's going to get addicted to a substance. You don't know if somebody's marriage is going to fall apart. You don't know if somebody's going to get a better offer in a warmer climate or a cooler climate. You don't know what's going to happen. So you need to always be interviewing for every position in your organization, so that in the event a good person leaves, you won't be stuck in the mud and you'll have a replacement. Typically, to answer your question more specifically, I don't like to hire anybody unless I have at least 1 year's salary in the bank for that person. When you hire somebody, you take on the responsibility of them choosing their life based on the compensation they're receiving in exchange for the work. So you've got to make sure that, if possible, and maybe 6 months, stretch 3 months, but I personally don't like to hire unless I have at least 1 year's salary in the bank, and that's usually an indicator that you are sustainable enough to bring somebody on. If you don't have that, then you have to get with the person and find out what is the hire going to bring to the company. In other words, if you spend $60,000 on this person, will they be worth $350,000? If that is the case, then it's a no-brainer. You hire immediately. But here's a rule of thumb: hire slow, fire fast. Take your time. Interview, meet the dog, the cat, the neighbor, interview the first grade teacher if you can. Hire slow, fire fast. Number 2, the question is should I put my own money up versus getting a business loan? Number 1, I always say use somebody else's money. I always say use somebody else's money. If you have $100,000 need and you have $100,000 in the bank, then it does not make sense to go cash poor and then have to depend on a dream that hasn't yet fully developed. So if you can get the loan, you get the loan and use the bank's money, knowing full well that you have this collateral that if all goes down, then you could use your money to ensure that you don't drown. Cash is king. If the stock market drops and the loan loses value, or FDIC says, you know what, we can't keep We can't keep our end of the bargain because it's above 250,000. I don't want to get into the minutia of all of that, but you always use the bank's money unless you've got $1 million in the bank and you have a $10,000 need. Then the risk tolerance is not high enough to go pay interest on. And then if you have what I like to call invisible interest, and people, have different ideas. And say, for instance, you can't buy a car cash. And I was at a point in my life, and I'll be honest with you, I couldn't buy cars cash. But what I did have is an 800 credit score. And so I could get low interest rates on my cars. And if you can get what I like to call invisible interest, still get the loan. I know the debt consolidators will tell you, hey, buy a cash car. And in all cases, that is very smart and it's very true. But if in case you can't buy a car cash and you need a car that's going to be reliable and you have to get a loan, get the interest rate as low as possible. Invisible interest to me is somewhere between 0 and 1.9%. And that means a majority of your money on the payment is going towards the principal, not the interest. But always use their money. Keep yours. And if you get in trouble, use yours to get out. Okay. Last question. I have so much passion for this question. Says, I didn't have to get a loan for my first salon. However, it seems that I need the funding this time. Should I slow down, save the capital, or go for the loan? My question for you is this. Number one, why don't you have, if you had the money to start the first one, is there any reason that you haven't been profitable enough to save the money for the second one so that you can do the second one the same way you did the first one? And that may be a heavy question, but it could be a million answers. Family grew, house noticed more, or you want to go bigger this time. There's a myriad of different answers for that. So here is something that I tell people. Whenever your business is growing, says I took a loss when I moved to Texas, came doing Harvey. Okay. Here is something that I want to say to you. Sometimes you have to listen to me. Sometimes you have to stop succeeding so you can build structure. Okay. This may not be the time to go start the second salon. Not that it won't ever be time, but this may not be time to go do it, because obviously taking a loss, moving, a hurricane, all of that is insurmountable odds that not many people can get over. So let's regroup from all of that, okay, and not be as ambitious to start. The other thing is I didn't start the second location for the Lighthouse Church until we were 8 years old. Because if you don't handle what caused the loss, if you haven't recuperated from the hurricane and the move, then the second salon would be a redistribution of the dysfunction that is currently going around the current building with loss, movement, hurricane. So now that you've recovered from all of that, maybe you want to wait. I took a loss when I moved to Texas, came doing Harvey, okay. I'm 5 years in. And I don't know enough about the business, but I do know my answer is this. Sometimes you have to stop succeeding so that you can build the structure. And I would not, at this moment, I wouldn't personally go and take out another loan that would cause you to have to use the proceeds from your current business to pay the loan back. Because if the business is not capable right now of sustaining a second location, then we need to get the business in the position where it can sustain a second location, then go get the money from the bank. All right, here's the principle. Then go get the money from the bank and have this apparatus, business one, accelerating the payment back to the bank so that you're not in debt in perpetuity because you took the loan out to open it, hoping that the second business will pay the loan back. So that's my honest feedback. We started another location. One of our businesses, I did not take a loan out. What I did is I made sure that the first business could sustain the second business. And then I borrowed the money. I was fortunate enough to borrow it from myself. But in other cases, if I wasn't able to borrow from myself, I would have borrowed it from the bank. And but I would have been okay because I had enough capital coming from business one that could sustain business two. So if your first business is able to sustain the second business right now, month to month, employees, buy the shampoo bowls, buy the hair dryers, buy the curling irons, get the hair products. If it's able to get all of that right now, if you're able to sustain all of that with your current income, then go get the loan from the bank so that you can start it fast and then accelerate the payment from business one to pay the bank back so that business two is out of debt faster. Because here's why I'm telling you that. Because the same way a move, a loss, and Harvey caused a fracture in the first business, you don't know what move, what loss, or what hurricane is coming that will cause the second business to be shaky, which would then put the weight of the second business and the first business on the first business. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Remember, guys, send us an email with your business goals for 2019, marketing@KeionHenderson.com. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to be with you. We've been together 51 minutes. That went so fast. I had a great time. Remember, send your goals to Keion, marketing@KeionHenderson.com.
Friends and colleagues, it's time to take action and subscribe to this podcast. Follow Keion Henderson on social media at Pastor Keion. Visit the website daily for lifestyle, leadership, and learning at KeionHenderson.com. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep doing life.